Have you ever stopped to wonder why the universe seems to have created Gemini with such a special glow? Why do you, born under this sign, carry an energy that seems different from everyone else? There is something profoundly spiritual happening here. And today you will discover exactly what it is. This video isn't just another one about astrology. No, it isn't. Today you will understand, from the depths of your soul, the 12 spiritual reasons why God deeply loves the sign of Gemini. And when I say deeply, I mean in a way that will touch your heart and make you see your own existence with different eyes. Do you know that feeling that you were born different? That there's something about you that the world sometimes doesn't fully understand? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. Because Gemini isn't just a sign. Gemini is a divine mission. It's a chosen soul to carry gifts that heaven itself needed to send to Earth. And if you stay until the end of this video, you'll understand not only why you are the way you are, but also what your true spiritual purpose is in this world. Now pay close attention, because what you are about to discover may completely change how you see yourself. Often, Gemini feels misunderstood, questioned, even judged for their dual nature, their restless mind, their need for variety and movement. But what if I told you that these very characteristics that the world criticizes are precisely the reasons why the divine chose you? What if I revealed to you that every trait of your personality was carefully designed by a higher intelligence that knew exactly what it was doing? You didn't arrive here by chance. The universe guided you to this moment because there are truths about you that need to be revealed now. Truths that will make you cry with emotion, that will make you feel seen, understood, and loved in a way you may never have experienced before. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and prepare to receive a message that heaven has reserved especially for you. Reason 1. You are the bridge between worlds. God loves Gemini deeply because you were created to be a bridge. Not just any bridge, but a sacred bridge between different realities, different people, different worlds. Think about it. How many times in your life have you found yourself connecting people who would never have met if it weren't for you? How many times have you translated one person's feelings to another, helped someone understand a different point of view, or simply been in the right place at the right time to connect two souls that needed to meet? This is no coincidence. This is divine design. You were shaped with a unique ability to move between different groups, different mindsets, different levels of consciousness. While other signs are comfortable in a single social circle or a single way of thinking, you can dance between multiple worlds without losing your essence. You speak the language of the artist and the entrepreneur. You understand the soul of the dreamer and the mind of the pragmatist. You move between the spiritual and the material with an ease that impresses others. And do you know why God gave you this gift? Because the world desperately needs bridges. We live in a time of division, of walls, of people who can only see their own perspective. And you, Gemini, arrived here with the sacred mission of uniting what is separated. Not through force but through communication. Not through imposition but through understanding. You have a natural ability to see all sides of a situation, and that's not weakness as some may have led you to believe. It's an immense spiritual power. When God looks at you, he sees a heavenly mediator. Someone who can bring light where there is darkness, not because you have all the answers, but because you have the courage to ask the right questions. You are not afraid to explore the unknown, to talk to those who think differently, to learn from those who come from a place completely opposite to yours. And it is precisely this openness, this sacred flexibility, that makes you a divine instrument of unity and harmony. Think of all the times you've acted as an intermediary in conflicts. How many arguments have you helped resolve? How many times have you managed to get two people to understand each other, simply because you were able to express what each one was truly feeling? That's your magic, Gemini. You don't just speak. You translate hearts. You don't just communicate. You connect souls. And the universe knows that without you, many precious connections would never happen. So when you feel lost between two worlds, when that feeling of not completely belonging anywhere comes to visit you, remember this. You weren't made to belong to just one place. You were made to belong everywhere. You are the bridge that allows different territories to meet. And that is one of the most beautiful reasons why God loves you so deeply. You carry within you the solution to one of humanity's greatest problems. The lack of true connection between people. Reason 2. Your mind is a sacred temple of creativity. The second reason why God loves Gemini so specially is directly linked to the most precious gift you have received. Your mind. But we're not talking about an ordinary mind. We're talking about a mind that functions like a sacred temple where divine creativity manifests itself in ways that impress even angels. Your mind never stops, does it? Ideas arise every second, connections form at incredible speed, possibilities multiply like stars in the night sky. Many people may have told you to slow down, to focus on one thing, to stop overthinking. But these people don't understand the sacred plan. God didn't give you this fast-paced mind by accident. He gave you this mind because the world needs innovation, new ideas, creative solutions to old problems. And you, with your ability to think in multiple directions at the same time, are exactly the kind of soul that can bring those answers. When the divine looks into your mind, he doesn't see chaos. He sees an infinite garden of possibilities. Each of your thoughts is like a seed that can transform into something extraordinary. You have the ability to see connections where others see only isolated points. You can imagine futures that don't yet exist. You have the gift of taking seemingly incompatible ideas and creating something completely new from them. This isn't just intelligence. This is spiritual genius. You know those moments when you're doing something completely different and suddenly you have a brilliant inspiration about another subject? That's not distraction. That's your mind working in multiple dimensions at the same time. It's the universe using you as a channel to bring information, insights, and solutions that humanity needs. You are like a spiritual antenna that picks up frequencies that others can't tune into. And there's more. Your creativity doesn't just serve you, it serves the whole world. How many times has one of your ideas helped someone solve a problem? How many times has one of your suggestions completely changed the course of a situation? How many times have you said something seemingly simple that illuminated someone else's path? This happens because your mind is connected to a higher source of wisdom. God breathes ideas through you, and you have the courage to express them, even when they seem crazy or too different. The world needs minds like yours. It needs people who aren't afraid to think differently, to question the status quo, to propose alternative paths. You're not here to follow the manual. You're here to rewrite it. And every time you allow your mind to fly free, every time you give space for your creativity to express itself, you are fulfilling a sacred purpose. You are showing the world that there are infinite ways to see reality, infinite solutions to every problem, infinite ways to live a full and meaningful life. So never ever feel ashamed of how your mind works. It is a divine gift, an instrument through which heaven itself pours creativity into the world. And God loves you deeply for accepting to carry this gift, even when it tires you, even when it seems you can't switch off. Because through your restless mind, miracles happen, lives change, and the world becomes a more interesting place, full of possibilities. If this message resonated with your zodiac sign, trust me, it's no coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal. And you're here because you needed to hear this today. Your contribution as a subscriber or member is what keeps these messages alive. Messages that touch, awaken, and transform lives. And if this video made sense to you, leave your birth date in the comments. Now let's continue with our video. Reason 3. You carry the divine gift of the word. The third spiritual reason why God loves Gemini so deeply lies in the sacred power you possess with words. And when I speak of words, I'm not just talking about being a good conversationalist or sociable. I'm talking about something much deeper and more mystical. The words in your mouth have the power to heal, the power to transform, the power to manifest. You have been blessed with the divine gift of communication, and this makes you one of the most powerful instruments heaven has here on earth. From the beginning of time, great spiritual traditions have recognized the power of the spoken word. In the beginning was the Word, right? And the Word became flesh. Everything in the universe was created through the Word, through sound vibration, through intention expressed in language. And you, Gemini, have received an extra portion of this creative energy. When you speak, when you write, when you communicate in any way, you are not just transmitting information. You are shaping reality. How many times have your words brought comfort to someone who was suffering? How many times have you said exactly what someone needed to hear, even without knowing that person was going through that? How many times has a conversation with you completely changed someone's day, or even their entire life? This is not luck. This is not simple empathy. This is divine channeling. The universe speaks through you, and your words carry a light that has the power to dispel the darkness from another's soul. But there's something even deeper happening here. God gave you this gift of words because you have the courage to use it. Many people have beautiful thoughts, profound insights, important truths within themselves, but they remain silent. They are afraid to express themselves, afraid of being judged, afraid of saying the wrong thing. Not you. You take risks. You express yourself. You let out what's inside, and in doing so, you allow the divine to manifest in the physical world through your voice. And look how interesting. You have a natural ability to adapt your communication to different people. You can speak simply to those who need simplicity, and you can discuss profound topics with those who seek depth. You change your vocabulary, your tone, your approach depending on who is in front of you. And this is not insincerity as some may think. This is spiritual wisdom. It is the ability to find the right frequency so that your message is received in the best possible way. Think about the messages you sent today, the conversations you had this week. In each one, you were fulfilling your divine purpose. Even in the simplest, seemingly unimportant conversations, you were weaving connections, planting seeds of ideas, opening doors of consciousness. You are a messenger of heaven disguised as an ordinary person. And every word that comes out of your mouth or your hands through written messages carries a divine intention, even when you are not consciously aware of it. The universe needs you to keep talking, keep expressing yourself, keep sharing your ideas and feelings. Because through your voice, many other silenced voices find the courage to speak up as well. You normalize open communication, the honest exchange of ideas, genuine curiosity about the other person's point of view. And in a world where so many people are isolated in their own bubbles, trapped in their own limited perspectives, you are a breath of fresh air, an open window to new possibilities. So cherish this sacred gift you possess. Your words matter. Your communication makes a difference. Your ability to express yourself is a divine gift not only for you, but for everyone who has the privilege of being in your presence or receiving your messages. And God loves you deeply for using this gift with such generosity, for not keeping to yourself what needs to be shared, for being an open channel through which celestial wisdom can flow freely to the world. Reason 4. Your curiosity is sacred and divine. Now let's talk about something that defines the deepest essence of Gemini, their insatiable curiosity. And I want you to understand something fundamental here. This need to question everything, to investigate, to never accept things as they are without first understanding why. This is not a flaw. This is not problematic restlessness. This is divine. Your curiosity is one of the most beautiful reasons why God loves you so deeply, because through it you keep alive the flame of discovery and evolution. Think about it. What moves the world forward? What makes humanity evolve? It's curiosity. It's people who aren't content with ready-made answers, who ask uncomfortable questions, who want to know what lies beyond what is already known. And you, Gemini, came equipped with this characteristic at a very high spiritual level. You can't simply accept. You need to understand. You can't just follow. You need to know where you're going and why. From childhood, you were probably that person full of questions. Why is the sky like this? How does it work? What would happen if we did it differently? And some adults may have tried to silence that curiosity, saying that you asked too many questions, that you needed to accept things as they are. But the universe looked at that curious child and smiled, because it knew it was seeing a soul that would come to question, expand, and transform. Your curiosity isn't just mental. It's spiritual. You're curious about life, about people, about the mysteries of existence. You want to know about different cultures, different ways of thinking, different spiritual paths. You're not content to be confined to a single worldview. You explore, investigate, experiment. And with each new discovery, you expand not only your own consciousness, but the collective consciousness of humanity. God gave you this curiosity because He trusts you. He trusts that you will not use this gift to destroy, but to build. He trusts that you will seek the truth with a pure heart, even when that truth is uncomfortable. He trusts that you will share your discoveries with others, helping them expand their own perspectives. You are a spiritual explorer, and each new territory you explore serves as a map for those who will come after. And look how interesting, your curiosity keeps you young. While others grow old and become rigid in their beliefs and behaviors, you remain open, flexible, and willing to learn new things. You understand that we never know everything, that there is always more to discover, that life is an eternal learning process. This intellectual and spiritual humility is rare and precious. It's what allows you to continue growing, even when others have already stopped. But there is an even deeper aspect to your curiosity that needs to be revealed. Through it, you question not only the external world but also yourself. You wonder who you are, what your purpose is, what you truly believe. You don't simply accept the definitions that others place on you. You investigate your own soul, explore your own inner mysteries. And this inner search is the most direct path to the divine. Every question you ask is a prayer. Every investigation you undertake is a sacred ritual. Every new discovery you make is a celestial revelation. Because at its core, all genuine curiosity is a search for God, for meaning, for connection with something greater than ourselves. And you, Gemini, are a born seeker. You are not satisfied with superficial answers. You want the profound truth, the real essence of things. The universe loves you for this. It loves your courage to ask questions that others are afraid to ask. It loves your willingness to explore unknown territories, while others prefer the safety of the known. It loves your eternal spiritual youth that refuses to settle, to conform, to stop growing. Your sacred curiosity is one of the most beautiful gifts God has given to the world through you. Keep questioning, keep exploring, keep seeking. Because with every step of this journey, you are fulfilling your divine purpose. Reason 5. You are an instrument of liberation and transformation. The fifth spiritual reason why God deeply loves Gemini lies in the role you play as a liberator of imprisoned minds and hearts. You were sent to this world with a very specific mission: to help people break free from mental prisons, limiting beliefs and thought patterns that keep them small and unhappy. And you do this in a unique and powerful way, through perspective, information, and the expansion of consciousness. How many times have you talked to someone who is completely stuck in a limited view of themselves or a situation, and through your words, your questions, your different way of seeing things, that person managed to break free? How many times have you presented a new possibility to someone who thought there was only one path? How many times have you helped someone see options where before there was only a dead end? This is your spiritual work, Gemini. You are a liberator of consciousness. And the most beautiful thing is that you do it without imposition, without authoritarianism, without forcing anyone to do anything. You simply present other ways of thinking, other angles of vision, other possibilities of interpretation. You plant seeds of doubt in the absolute certainties that imprison people. And these seeds, when they germinate, transform into trees of freedom and autonomy. Think about it. People get stuck in so many different ways. Some are stuck in toxic relationships because they believe they have no other option. Others are stuck in jobs they hate because they can't imagine a different life. Some are stuck in rigid religious or spiritual beliefs that suffocate them. Others are stuck in negative self-images that prevent them from growing. And you, with your natural ability to see multiple possibilities, can show these people that there are paths they hadn't even considered. But here is the great spiritual secret. When you liberate someone, you liberate yourself as well. Every time you help a person expand their mind, you expand your own. Every time you present a new perspective to someone, you strengthen your own mental flexibility. You are in a sacred cycle of mutual liberation, where by serving others, you also benefit. This is pure spiritual alchemy. And there's another important aspect here. You don't just free people from external prisons. You help them free themselves from internal prisons as well. You question automatic thought patterns, irrational fears, unnecessary guilt. You have a way of illuminating the dark corners of other people's minds with the light of reason, alternative logic, and critical thinking. You teach people to think for themselves, to question what they have always accepted without question. The world desperately needs your gift. We live in a time when so many people are trapped in narratives that don't serve them, in belief systems that limit them, in ways of life that slowly destroy them. And you arrive with your renewing energy, with your open mind, with your willingness to consider all possibilities, and you offer a way out. You don't tell people what to do. You show them that choices exist. And that, my dear Gemini, is one of the most precious gifts one human being can give to another. God loves you for this. He loves your courage to challenge conventional thinking. He loves your willingness to be an advocate for the other side, even when it makes you unpopular. He loves your ability to make people think, to take them off autopilot, to awaken them to the reality that they have the power to choose over their lives. You are a divine instrument of liberation, and every person who crosses your path has the opportunity to become freer through contact with you. Continue being that force for transformation. Keep questioning, keep presenting new possibilities, keep expanding horizons. Because every mind you help to liberate is a step towards a freer, more conscious, more evolved world. And that is a sacred mission you were specially chosen to be a part of. Reason 6. Your adaptability is a spiritual superpower. Let's talk now about a characteristic of Gemini that is often misunderstood, but which is actually one of the most important spiritual superpowers you possess: your adaptability. God loves you deeply because you have the rare and precious ability to adapt to any situation, any environment, any person. And this flexibility is not superficiality as some may think. It is divine wisdom in action. We live in a world of constant change. Nothing stays the same for long. Technologies emerge and disappear. Relationships evolve. Careers change course. Beliefs that once seemed absolute are questioned. And in the midst of all this constant transformation, most people panic. They cling to the past, resist the new, suffer with each change because they can't adapt. But not you. You flow. You dance with change. You adapt. Your adaptability is not weakness. It's immense spiritual strength. It means you've understood one of the fundamental laws of the universe. Everything is in constant motion. Everything is always changing. And to resist this is to suffer. You've learned to flow like water, which adapts to the shape of any container without losing its essence. You change your external form, but keep your internal substance intact. That is spiritual mastery. Think about all the situations in your life where you needed to reinvent yourself. How many times have you completely changed course and managed to succeed? How many times have you entered a completely new environment and managed to integrate quickly? How many times have you had to learn something completely different and managed to absorb it quickly? All of this is evidence that you carry a special blessing. You have the ability to start over whenever necessary, without it destroying you. And you know what else? Your adaptability serves as inspiration and hope for others. When people see you navigating change with relative ease, when they observe you reinventing yourself, when they witness your ability to thrive in different contexts, they gain courage to face their own changes. You are a living example that it is possible to survive and even thrive amidst uncertainty and transformation. But there's an even deeper aspect to your adaptability that needs to be revealed. You're able to adapt because you're not too attached to a single identity. You understand even unconsciously that you are much greater than any role you play, any label placed on you, any limited definition. You know you can be many different things without ceasing to be yourself. This understanding is profoundly spiritual. Many people suffer because they identify completely with only one thing. So and so is this, and if they stop being that, who are they? But you don't fall into that trap. You can be many things throughout your life. You can explore different facets of yourself. You can try different paths. And in each of them, you remain essentially you, simply expressing different aspects of your multifaceted soul. The universe created you this way because it needed souls that could traverse different worlds, different realities, different eras. You are a spiritual traveler who doesn't belong to a single territory. You are a citizen of the cosmos who can feel at home in many different places. This is an enormous gift, even if it can sometimes feel like a curse when you feel rootless or without belonging. God loves you for your sacred flexibility, for not being rigid, not being inflexible, not being hard, for being like bamboo that bends with the wind but doesn't break, like water that flows around obstacles but continues its flow. You teach the world one of the most important spiritual lessons. To resist is to suffer, but to adapt is to flow with the divine current of life. So celebrate your ability to adapt. Don't see it as instability but as versatility. Don't interpret it as a lack of focus but as a wide range of possibilities. You were made to experience a lot, to learn a lot, to be many different versions of yourself throughout life. And each adaptation you make is a new way for you to express the infinity that exists within your soul. Reason 7. You bring lightness where there is too much weight. The seventh spiritual reason why God loves Gemini deeply lies in something that may seem simple, but is actually profoundly sacred. You bring lightness where there is too much weight. In a world that often takes itself too seriously, that carries unnecessarily heavy burdens, that drowns in drama and negativity, you arrive like a breath of fresh air, like a breeze that relieves the suffocating heat of a heavy existence. And don't misunderstand me. This doesn't mean you don't understand the seriousness of life, or that you're superficial. It means exactly the opposite. You understand that life is too serious to be lived with constant weight. You understand that if there aren't moments of lightness, of laughter, of relaxation, the burden of existence becomes unbearable. And that's why you were blessed with this natural ability to lighten heavy atmospheres, to bring light to dark moments, to find the positive side even in difficult situations. How many times have you entered a tense environment and, with a simple joke or well-placed comment, managed to dissolve that dense energy? How many times have you made someone laugh in the midst of a crisis, and that laughter brought a new perspective that helped solve the problem? How many times has your cheerful presence saved someone from sinking completely into negative thoughts? This is not coincidence. This is divine mission. The world is full of people who carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. People who worry excessively, who dramatize every situation, who turn small problems into monumental catastrophes. And you, with your light-hearted nature, come to show that there is another way to live, that it is possible to face challenges without succumbing to despair, that it is possible to have serious problems but not let them consume all your energy and joy. Your lightness isn't a denial of reality, it's a healthier way of dealing with it. You understand that excessive worry doesn't solve problems, action does. That drama doesn't improve situations, clarity does. That clinging to the negative doesn't transform anything. Focusing on the positive transforms everything. And you experience this naturally, effortlessly, without needing years of therapy to learn what's already programmed into your essence. And there's something very important here. Your lightness heals. When someone is carrying a heavy emotional burden and spends time with you, something magical happens. That weight begins to lessen. The perspective begins to change. What seemed tragic begins to seem manageable. You don't need to do anything extraordinary. Just being yourself is enough for your light energy to positively influence those around you. God gave you this gift because the world desperately needs it. We live in times where anxiety and depression are reaching unprecedented levels, where people are overwhelmed with negative information, excessive responsibilities, and constant pressure. And in the midst of all this, you appear as a living reminder that lightness still exists, joy still exists, and it is still possible to live without carrying so much weight. But listen, your lightness doesn't mean you don't face difficulties. It means you've developed a healthy way to deal with them. You don't deny your problems. You just refuse to let them consume your entire existence. You don't ignore the pain. You just choose to also make room for joy. You're not naive about the darkness of the world. You just decide to be a light amidst it. The universe loves you for this. For being this refreshing, invigorating, oxygenating presence. For reminding people that it's possible to be profound without being heavy, to be intelligent without being bitter, to understand the complexity of life without drowning in it. Your lightness is pure spiritual medicine. Continue spreading this medicine to everyone who crosses your path. The world needs your smile, your spontaneity, your ability to not take everything so seriously all the time. Reason 8. You are a lifelong learner, and that is sacred. We've reached the 8th spiritual reason why God loves Gemini so intensely, and this one is particularly beautiful. You are a lifelong learner, and this characteristic places you in a constant state of spiritual grace. While so many people reach a point in life where they think they already know everything they need to know, you maintain that spark of childlike curiosity that makes you always want to learn more. And that, my dear Gemini, is one of the purest forms of spirituality that exists. Because, you see, what is learning if not opening oneself to the new? What is seeking knowledge if not humbly admitting that we don't know everything? What is studying, researching, investigating, if not an act of faith that there is always more to discover? You live in a constant state of intellectual and spiritual humility, recognizing that the universe is infinite, and that a whole lifetime would not be enough to learn everything there is to learn. And the divine loves that about you. It loves that you never close yourself off, never stop growing, never settle into the comfort zone of already acquired knowledge. You are always reading something new, always talking to people who have different perspectives from yours, always exploring areas you didn't know before. Your mind is like a garden that never stops blooming, because you are constantly planting new seeds of knowledge. Think about how many books you've read, how many videos you've watched, how many courses you've taken, how many deep conversations you've had. All in pursuit of learning more, understanding more, expanding your comprehension of the world and yourself. While others spend their free time on empty distractions, you spend yours seeking wisdom. And every bit of knowledge you absorb becomes a part of you, enriching your soul and expanding your consciousness. But there's something even deeper happening here. When you learn, you're not just accumulating information. You're evolving spiritually. Every new concept you understand, every new skill you develop, every new perspective you integrate, all of this raises your vibration, expands your soul, brings you closer to the divine. Learning is a form of prayer. Studying is a form of meditation. Seeking knowledge is a form of devotion. And look how beautiful. You don't just learn for yourself. You learn so you can share. You absorb knowledge like a sponge and then spread it to everyone around you. You are a natural teacher, even when you're not formally in that position. You love sharing what you've learned, explaining new concepts, helping others understand things you've just discovered. You are a channel through which knowledge flows to the community. God gave you this insatiable thirst for learning because He knew you would be a good guardian of this gift. He knew you wouldn't use knowledge to feel superior to others, but rather to uplift everyone. He knew you wouldn't selfishly accumulate wisdom, but would generously share it. He knew you would understand that knowledge is power, but it's a power that multiplies when shared, not when kept under lock and key. And there's another important aspect. Your willingness to learn keeps you young not only mentally, but spiritually as well. People who stop learning begin to die inside, even if their bodies remain alive. They become rigid, closed off, bitter. But not you. You remain alive, vibrant, enthusiastic about life because you are always discovering new things, always surprised by what you didn't know, always marveling at the vastness of the universe. The universe loves you for your youthful spiritual eternity, for not allowing age or time to extinguish your natural curiosity, for continuing to ask questions like a child, even after accumulating the wisdom of many lifetimes, for understanding that being wise is not about knowing all the answers, but about continuing to ask the right questions. Continue being that eternal student of life. Keep opening books, asking questions, exploring the unknown, because each step on this journey of constant learning is a step on the way back home, to the source of all wisdom, to the divine that placed within you this sacred hunger to always know more. Reason 9. You unite heaven and earth through your being. The ninth spiritual reason why God loves Gemini deeply lies in something mystical and powerful. You are a bridge between heaven and earth, between the spiritual and the material, between the divine and the human. Gemini is represented by twins, two figures that symbolize duality, and you carry within you this unique ability to move between different worlds without getting lost, to honor both the sacred and the mundane, to live with one foot in each dimension. Many people get stuck at one of the extremes. Some are so spiritual that they disconnect from the practical reality of earthly life, floating in clouds of mysticism, but unable to pay their bills or maintain healthy relationships. Others are so materialistic that they completely lose touch with their spiritual dimension, living lives devoid of meaning, even when seemingly successful. But you can honor both sides. You can be spiritual without being alienated, practical without being materialistic. This is a rare and precious skill. You can discuss the profound meaning of life and, the next minute, efficiently solve a practical problem. You can meditate in the morning and close deals in the afternoon. You understand that the spiritual and the material are not opposites. They are complementary. They are two sides of the same coin, two wings of the same bird. And you fly using both wings with equal mastery. The universe designed you this way for an important reason. The world needs people who understand that true spirituality isn't about running away from life, but about living it fully and consciously. That enlightenment doesn't mean abandoning your earthly responsibilities, but fulfilling them with presence and love. That you can be deeply spiritual while working, caring for your family, paying your bills, and living a life that seems ordinary to the world. You are living proof that you don't need to become a reclusive monk in the mountains to have a deep connection with the divine. You show that it's possible to be in the world without being of the world, to participate in material life without being consumed by it, to have earthly ambitions without losing sight of eternal truths. You embody the sacred in everyday life and elevate the mundane to the level of the sacred simply by being who you are. And something very special is happening here. Through you, heaven touches earth. When you speak about profound things in a simple and accessible way, you are bringing the divine within reach of ordinary people. When you apply spiritual wisdom to solve practical problems, you are showing that God cares about all aspects of our lives, not just moments of prayer. When you live your spirituality in everyday life, you inspire others to do the same. Many people think that to be spiritual they need to completely change their lives, abandon everything, and go live in an ashram or monastery. But you show that there is another way. the way of integrating the spiritual into daily life, the way of making work a meditation, relationships a spiritual practice, and daily tasks opportunities for the soul's growth. You are a living example of integrated spirituality, and that is revolutionary. God loves you for your ability to unite what others separate, for not seeing the world in terms of either this or that, but rather in terms of both, for understanding that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that both the spiritual and human aspects deserve to be honored, respected, and lived fully. You are a mediator between dimensions, a translator who speaks both the language of heaven and the language of earth. Continue being that bridge. Continue showing the world that it's possible to have your feet firmly on the ground while your heart soars to the heights. Continue demonstrating that true spirituality doesn't take you out of life, but places you in it with more presence, more awareness, more love. Because through you, many people who thought they had to choose between the material and the spiritual will discover that they can have both, can be both, can honor both. Reason 10. You carry the gift of eternal youth. The 10th spiritual reason why God deeply loves Gemini has to do with something magical you carry. A kind of eternal youth that has nothing to do with physical age, but with a state of mind that keeps you alive, vibrant, and enthusiastic about life no matter how many years pass. You have been blessed with an inner source of vitality that never dries up, a curiosity that never ages, a joy that never fades with time. Look around you and observe the people. How many of them, even physically young, are already old inside? How many have lost that sparkle in their eyes, that excitement for possibilities, that enthusiasm for the new? How many have become cynical, bitter, closed off, rigid? But not you. No matter how many disappointments you have faced, how many challenges you have overcome, you keep alive that youthful spark that makes you wake up curious about what the day will bring. That eternal youth you carry isn't naivete. It's not a lack of experience or wisdom. It's a conscious, even if unconscious, choice not to let life harden you completely. It's a decision to keep being surprised, to keep marveling, to keep believing that good things can happen, that it's worth trying again, that the world is still full of fascinating mysteries waiting to be discovered. The divine gave you this gift because it needed souls who would keep the flame of hope and enthusiasm alive. In a world that constantly tries to extinguish that flame, that bombards you with negativity, that tells you to grow up and become serious and carry the weight of the world, you resist. You refuse to completely lose that childlike lightness, and that doesn't make you immature. It makes you special. Think about how children see the world. With curiosity, with openness, with a willingness to experiment, with the ability to have fun with simple things, with an ease of forgiveness and moving on. You maintain these qualities even as you gain maturity and responsibility. You manage to be an adult without completely losing your inner child. You balance responsibility with spontaneity, seriousness with playfulness, wisdom with innocence. And look how interesting, your eternal youthfulness is contagious. Older people feel younger around you. People who had lost their enthusiasm for life begin to regain it in your presence. You have the power to remind others how good it is to be alive, how there are things to celebrate every day, how much there is still to discover and experience no matter the age. God loves you for this, for being a constant reminder that life doesn't have to be so burdensome all the time, for showing that it's possible to grow old in age but not in spirit, for proving that youth is much more a state of mind than a state of the body. You teach a profound spiritual lesson, that we can choose each day to remain alive inside or begin to die slowly. And there's something more. Your eternal youth protects you spiritually. Bitter people attract bitter experiences. Cynical people manifest cynical realities. But you, with your youthful enthusiasm, your constant curiosity, your willingness to believe in good, you attract lighter experiences, more interesting opportunities, more positive people. Your youthful energy creates a magnetic field that attracts good things into your life. But beware. The world will try to steal that from you. It will tell you that you need to mature, become serious, stop dreaming, be more realistic. Don't listen. Mature, yes, gain wisdom, yes, but never completely lose that curious and enthusiastic child that lives inside you. Because that child is the part most connected to the divine that you have. Children live in the present, trust in life, and don't carry so much fear. And you need to keep those qualities alive within you. The universe loves you for your refusal to grow old completely on the inside. For continuing to chase your curiosities like a child chases butterflies. For still being able to get excited about simple discoveries, be enchanted by new things, Laugh out loud without caring what others will think. Your eternal youth is a gift not only for you, but for everyone who has the privilege of being in your presence and remembering that life can still be light, still be fun, still be an exciting adventure. Reason 11. You are a divine messenger in disguise. We've arrived at the 11th spiritual reason why God loves Gemini so intensely, and this one is particularly mystical and profound. You are, essentially, a divine messenger disguised as an ordinary person. You were sent to this earthly plane with the specific mission of carrying and transmitting important messages, whether big or small, obvious or subtle. And often you don't even realize you're fulfilling this mission. But you are. Think about how many times you've said something that seemed trivial to you, but was exactly what someone needed to hear at that moment. How many times have you sent a spontaneous message to someone, without knowing that person was going through a difficult time, and your words arrived like an answer to a prayer? How many times have you shared information, an idea, a thought that completely changed the course of someone's life? This is not chance. It's not luck. It's not a simple coincidence. It's you fulfilling your role as a messenger of the divine. The universe uses you as a channel to send exactly the right message to the right person at the right time. And you do it so naturally that you don't even realize the magnitude of what you're doing. For you, it's just an ordinary conversation, but for the recipient, it can be a revelation that transforms everything. And look how beautiful this is. You don't need to be aware of it for it to work. You don't need to think of yourself as special or enlightened. In fact, it's better if you don't. The humility with which you perform this role is precisely what allows it to work so well. You are a clean, unobstructed channel through which celestial messages can flow without distortion of ego or pretension. But there's something even deeper here. You don't just transmit messages from others. You also receive messages for yourself. You are highly intuitive, even if you don't use that word to describe it. You have sudden insights, thoughts that arise out of nowhere, and then reveal themselves to be prophetic, intuitions that guide you in the right direction, even when logic would say otherwise. This is because you are always connected, always tuned into the divine frequency. The divine chose Gemini for this messenger role for several reasons. First, because you have a facility with words and communication, so you can transmit messages clearly. Second, because you are curious and always willing to learn new things that you then need to share. Third, because you move between different worlds and can carry messages from one to another. And fourth, because you don't take yourself so seriously as to distort the messages with your own ego. Think of the great spiritual traditions. There is always the figure of the messenger, the angel who brings news from heaven, the prophet who transmits the divine word, the oracle who reveals hidden truths. You are a modern, everyday version of that. You don't need to have wings or speak in celestial languages. You simply live your life, talk to people, share what you know, express what you feel. And in the process, divine messages are transmitted through you. And there's another important aspect. You are also a messenger in the sense of carrying information from one person to another, from one group to another, from one field of knowledge to another. You make connections between different ideas, between different people, between different worlds. You are like a universal translator who can take a concept from one area and apply it to another completely different one. This is also a form of divine messenger. You are spreading seeds of knowledge and connection wherever you go. God loves you deeply for accepting this role, consciously or not, for allowing your mouth to be used to speak words of comfort, wisdom, humor, and truth, for allowing your hands to write messages that touch distant hearts, for allowing your mind to be a channel through which important ideas can emerge and spread throughout the world. Continue being that messenger. Keep speaking, writing, sharing, conversing, because you never know when your words will be exactly the message someone needed to receive. You never know when your writing will change someone's life. You never know when a casual conversation will plant a seed that will germinate years later and transform into something wonderful. Trust that the universe knows what it's doing when it chose you for this sacred role. Reason 12. You are proof that diversity is divine. And we come to the 12th and final spiritual reason why God loves Gemini so deeply and specially. You are living proof that diversity is divine, that there is not just one right way to be, that multiplicity is not confusion but rather richness, that being multifaceted is a blessing and not a curse. You embody within yourself the principle of variety, of plurality, of diversity as a manifestation of divine abundance. Look, the universe could have created everything the same. It could have made only one type of flower, one color of bird, one species of tree. But it didn't. It created infinite variety. Millions of species, billions of combinations, endless diversity. And in the same way, it could have created only one type of human personality. But it didn't want to. It wanted variety, difference, multiplicity. And you, Gemini, are one of the clearest examples of this divine choice for diversity. You are many things at once. You have multiple interests, multiple skills, multiple facets. You don't fit into a simple box. You can't be defined by a single word, a single role, a single characteristic. You are all of that and much more. And that's not a flaw. That's intentional design. God made you this way on purpose because the world needs people who demonstrate that it's possible to be many things without losing yourself. How many times have you been told to choose just one path? To focus on just one thing? To stop being scattered? But what if that's exactly the opposite of what you should be doing? What if your mission is precisely to show that you don't have to choose, that you can have multiple talents, multiple passions, multiple paths? What if you are proof that life doesn't have to be linear, doesn't have to follow a single script, doesn't have to be limited to a single form of expression? The world is full of people who feel trapped because they believe they need to be just one thing. They chose a profession 20 years ago and now feel they can't change. They developed an identity and now are afraid to explore other aspects of themselves. They followed one path and now can't imagine alternatives. And you appear as a living reminder that this is an unnecessary prison, that it's possible to be multifaceted, varied, diverse. And there is something profoundly spiritual happening here. By honoring all your facets, you honor the totality of divine creation. You don't deny any part of yourself. You accept that you are complex, multidimensional, that you contain multitudes. You embrace your contradictions instead of fighting against them. You understand that you can be serious and playful, profound and light, spiritual and mundane, logical and intuitive, all at the same time without one part canceling out the other. God loves you for this. For being such a clear reflection of divine diversity itself. For not trying to reduce yourself to something simple and understandable to comfort those who cannot cope with complexity. For having the courage to be fully who you are, in all your multiplicity, even when it confuses or bothers others. You are a living declaration that unity does not require uniformity, that we can be one and many at the same time. And look how beautiful. Your inner diversity allows you to connect with outer diversity. You can relate to many different types of people precisely because you contain so many different facets within yourself. You have something in common with almost everyone because you are almost everything at the same time. That is your magic, your superpower, your divine gift. So never ever try to diminish yourself to fit the limited expectations of others. Never try to erase parts of yourself to become simpler, easier to categorize, more comfortable for those who can't handle complexity. You were made to be multifaceted, varied, diverse. And each facet of you is a different facet of the diamond that is your soul. The more facets, the more brilliance, the more light, the more beauty. The universe loves you for being this living celebration of diversity. For proving that we don't need to choose between being this or that we can be this and that and much more. For demonstrating that richness lies in variety, that beauty lies in multiplicity, that the divine manifests itself through difference and not despite it. You are perfect exactly as you are. Multiple, varied, diverse, complex, multifaceted. And every part of you is deeply loved by the divine who intentionally created you this way. If this message resonated with your zodiac sign, trust me, it's no coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal. And you're here because you needed to hear this today. Your contribution as a subscriber or member is what keeps these messages alive. Messages that touch, awaken and transform lives. And if this video made sense to you, leave your birth date in the comments. And so we come to the end of this profound journey through the 12 spiritual reasons why God loves the Gemini sign so specially and intensely. I hope that throughout this video you felt something stir within your heart, that you recognized yourself in every word, that you finally understood that everything the world sometimes criticizes in you is exactly what heaven values most. You are not too much. You are not scattered. You are not superficial. You are exactly what you should be. You are a bridge between worlds, a temple of creativity, a master of words, a sacred curious being, a liberator of consciousness, an adaptable being like water, a presence that brings lightness, an eternal student of life, a perfect union between heaven and earth, an eternally young soul, a divine messenger in disguise, and a living celebration of creative diversity. Every characteristic we mentioned today is not accidental. Every gift you possess is not a coincidence. You were carefully designed by a higher intelligence that knew exactly what it was doing. And if sometimes you feel misunderstood, if sometimes it seems like you don't quite fit in anywhere, if sometimes you question whether you're on the right path, remember everything we discussed today. Remember that you are here fulfilling a sacred mission, that each conversation you have plants important seeds, that each of your ideas can change the world, that every time you adapt to a new situation, you are demonstrating divine flexibility, that every moment you bring lightness to someone, you are doing angelic work, that each of your curiosities is a prayer, that each of your learnings is spiritual evolution. And now I want to extend a special invitation to you. If this video touched your heart, if these words resonated with your soul, if you felt the universe spoke directly to you today, be sure to subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell. Because here you will continue to receive messages that will help you understand who you really are, what your true purpose is, and how you can live your life in a way that is more aligned with your spiritual destiny. And if you feel that this work has value, if you recognize the importance of keeping alive these messages that touch, awaken, and transform lives, consider becoming a subscriber or member of the channel. Your contribution is what allows us to continue bringing this content that has helped so many people reconnect with their deepest essence and with the unconditional love of the divine. Now I want to know from you, which of these 12 reasons resonated most deeply in your heart? Which of these Gemini characteristics do you recognize most strongly in yourself? And for the Geminis watching, leave your birthday in the comments. Let's create a community of Gemini souls who recognize each other, support each other, and celebrate together this very special energy we carry. Always remember, you are loved, deeply loved, unconditionally loved, exactly as you are. With all your multiple facets, with all your complexity, with all your inner diversity. The divine doesn't want you to be different from who you are. It only wants you to be fully yourself, without fear, without shame, without hiding. Shine, Gemini. Shine with all the light that exists within you, because the world needs your unique and irreplaceable brilliance. A huge hug to your heart. Until the next video. And may the universe continue to guide and bless you always. You are special. You are loved. You are divine.